Good morning, Year 5, and welcome back to day 2 of applying our fractions knowledge. I've got here the answers from yesterday. Do remember, if you're finding it difficult to see the sheets, they are available on the PowerPoint as well. Do let me know if there's anything you're finding too difficult to see. Okay, so here are your answers. Have a look at those, mark your work, and then we're going to do today's Fluent in 5. So stop the video, time yourself 5 minutes, and I'll be back with the answers. The answers for today are here, along with a little reminder of whether you should have been able to do it mentally. This one, I think from first look, you might automatically think you can do that with a written method, but we're looking at 790 as a near multiple of 100. It's nearly 800, which we can take away easily and then add the 10 back on. Okay, so today we're going to look at fractions through the concept of time. Now, we haven't done time for a while, so I'm just going to do this little reminder first of time intervals. So there are 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 2 weeks in a fortnight, and then obviously months have got different numbers of days. There are different ways people use to remember, but this is a little memory jogger that I use, which I think a lot of people use to remember the days. 30 days have September, April, June and November. All the rest have 31 except for February alone, which has 28 days clear and 29 on each leap year. Okay, and so obviously on a normal year, there's 365 days in the year, 366 in a leap year, 12 months in a year, 10 years in a decade, 100 years in a century, 1,000 years in a millennium. Don't be put off by this meal. Meal is actually means 1,000. So millennium is 1,000 years. Just, it sounds a bit like a million. It can be a bit confusing. Okay, so today we're going to use these time intervals to help us transfer time intervals into different intervals using fractions. So I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to move that. You can always go back to that part of the video if you want to. So, first of all, you might be asked to change one time interval into another one like this. So the purple questions are seconds into minutes. So I've done the first bit, 60 seconds is 1 minute. And if you didn't have that one, it's always a good idea to write that down for yourself anyway to remind yourself. So 30 seconds is 30 seconds out of 60 seconds. And if we use our fractions knowledge there, we can divide both of those by 30. So 60 seconds is half a minute. Of course, you could have been able to do that mentally as well, just showing you the written method. And 15 seconds is 15 out of 60. So 15 seconds out of 60 seconds in a minute. And again, I can divide both of those by 15, a quarter of a minute. Okay, and we obviously use that a lot, don't we? When we tell the time, we talk about half an hour and quarter of an hour. So I've done it with seconds there, but it does transfer to minutes and hours as well. Okay, this one says 24 hours is 1 day. How many days is 6 hours? Well, it's 6 hours out of a possible 24. And then using my fractions knowledge, both of those have got a factor of 6. So 6 hours is a quarter of a day. 60 hours is 60 hours out of a possible 24. Now, obviously this, if you've got a numerator that's going to be bigger than the denominator, you know it's going to be a mixed number. So that's the same as, well, let's think about our 24 times table, so to speak. So 24, then 48, and then the next multiple of 24 after that is going to be 72. So that's too far. So we've got 48 out of 24, which is 2 whole ones, and then there's 12 left. So that's 2 whole ones, and that simplifies to a half. So 60 hours is 2.5 days. And then one more one to go through. 12 months is 1 year. So how many years is 2 months? Well, it's 2 out of a possible 12, which simplifies to 1/6 of a year. Again, if you're finding it hard to do the simplifying, do go back and watch one of the videos from earlier on. I think it's week 5, 6 and 7 to give yourself a bit of a recap there. 50 months. How many years? Well, it's 50 months out of a possible 12. I know that 48 is the closest multiple of 12. So we can split that into 48 twelfths and 2 twelfths. That's 4 whole ones. That's 1/6. So 50 months, is 4 oops, and 1/6 years. Okay, if you're not sure about these ones that go over into a mixed number, don't worry, do go back and look at the mixed numbers work. Just do what you can, applying your knowledge, and you might do your working out slightly different to me, and that's fine as well. So that's doing it that way. So as long as you know what you're starting with, you just put it as a fraction and then simplify it down. Now we're going to do some where we start with the fraction. So 4/7 of a week is how many days? Well, first of all, we want to know what 1 is. So that was given to us in the last examples, but this time we need to know it. So 1 week is 7 days. So 4/7 is 4 out of 7. So 4/7 of a week is 4 days. That was quite straightforward. Our denominator was already 7. It was a quite straightforward transfer from weeks to days. Let's look at it where it's not quite straightforward. 1/5 of a decade is how many years? Okay, so first of all, what is a decade? Well, a decade is 10 years. So 1/5, what we really want is that denominator to be there, don't we? Because we want to know how many years it is out of 10. So again, using equivalent fractions, if you double the top, you double the bottom, you double the top. So 1/5 is the same as 2/10, which is 2 years out of 10. So 1/5 of a decade is 2 years. Okay. Next one, 7/25 of a century. First of all, write down what you know. 1 century is 100 years. Okay. At the moment, our denominator is 25. 7 out of 25. We want it to be out of 100 because that's how many years are in a century. Times the bottom by 4. Must do the same to the top. Equivalent fractions is 28 out of 100. So 7/25 of a century is 28 years. Okay, we're going to do one with a mixed number. You could, of course, work out, actually, first of all, another way of doing this is you could have worked out 1/25 of a century. 1/25 of a century is going to be 100 divided by 25. So you could say, well, that's 4 years, and then times it by 7 to get 28. Just showing you a different way of doing it there, okay? 1.5 minutes. Well, 1 minute is 60 seconds. Half a minute, therefore, must be 30 seconds. And then we add them together to make 90 seconds there. Again, there are different ways of working this out. You don't have to use my way. This is just my way of modelling a possible way to get the answers. 3/5 of an hour. So we could do what we did here. We could work out what we know about hours first, or we could work out 1/5 first. I'm going to do both ways to show you. So 1 hour is 60 minutes. Okay. So then we'd say, okay, so 3/5 is how many out of 60? 5 times 12 is 60. 3 times 12 is 36. So 3/5 of an hour is 36 minutes. And just doing it the other way, we can work out 1/5 of an hour first. So remember, 1/5 is just dividing it into 5 equal pieces. So 60 divided by 5 is 12 minutes. And then we could just times it by 3 to get the 3/5. Gives us 36 minutes. So either of those methods is fine, or you could do a bar model to help you, or you could draw something to help you. Absolutely fine. Okay, so today's task then is similar to that. You've got a little bit of that to do, and then you've got some problem solving to do, applying your time and fraction knowledge at the bottom here. As always, use concrete materials if you need to, draw bar models if you need to. If you're struggling, that should be your first port of call. Try to do some jottings or draw it if you can. And I'll be back tomorrow with your answers.